Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Faith, it's another bill that she says will protect children and empower parents. She, along with sponsor Senator Tyler Dees and Representative John Eubanks, have introduced the Social Media Safety Act. It will require social media companies to have age verification for users. When asked how this would be enforced, Governor Sanders said companies would have to hire third-party businesses at their own expense to make sure they are following the rules.
However, they can be held accountable through the Attorney General's office. Also, this legislation would open up the ability for parents to hold social media companies accountable.
Hans, are we the baddies?
Good morning, Karen. It's the social media safety law that Governor Sarah Sanders signed back in April. It would require a parent's consent before their kids can create social media accounts. It was also set to go into effect today, but that's no longer the case. This morning, we know a judge issued a ruling Thursday that temporarily blocks the law while the case moves forward.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
Well, this first week back from vacation, if you notice, we have a lot of videos on age verification. We promised we would get back with the anime and other stories that we normally cover, but I think this is important because, you know, they're trying to block the internet, and they're not going to tell you. They disguise it as we're trying to protect the children. But the thing about it is the children can be protected by the most important person of them all, and that's the parent. That's right. The parent can protect the child. And there's many ways to do this. You know, there's a lot of software out there. If a corporation can do it on their computers easily, and a parent at home can just as well do it too, you know, because basically you have situations where, you know, you protect your computer with antivirus software. There's ways of blocking these sites through your antivirus software. It's very simple, and there are filtering devices built into internet systems like Google. Google has safe search on their systems, and Firefox has theirs. And, you know, many others have theirs, and some of them are free. Remember that, you know, some of this software is free. But yet, you know, you have a lot of these people that are trying to push it. It's mostly a lot of the religious, you know, these, people like Morality and Media, of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But these people, they try to push these rules, but you do a deep dive into them and find out that, you know, they do have skeletons in their closet, and they don't want you to know this. You know, that takes away their control over you. And we've already seen Australia has already nixed their age verification law. And so is Texas. Texas is right now arguing that in court, as the Texas judge has halted that. And if you haven't seen those two videos before this one, do check those two out. I'll give you a moment. Stop the video, go back and check out those two videos before we get into this one. This is the latest situation. So what we're going to discuss next is basically another age verification law from another state under the disguise of social media safety has also been halted by the courts.
Damn it, you just
Arkansas, home of the Clintons, or originally home of the Clintons at the time. Basically, Arkansas tried somewhat of a different direction on this. Their arguments were really insane. You know, I have a video coming up on an opinion piece from the New York Times about online safety for children. That one gets it's long, understand, but it gets a little crazy at points. And we'll have that out probably in the next week or two, because we're working on that itself. We're just going over all the information that we've gotten on that. But in Arkansas, mind you, and we'll read this off of XBiz, judge blocks Arkansas social media safety age verification law. The U.S. District Court for the Western District of Arkansas granted Thursday a preliminary injunction blocking the Arkansas government from enforcing the state's new sweeping Social Media Safety Act, which was scheduled to take effect until its merits are litigated. The trade group NetChoice sued Arkansas Republican Attorney General Tim Griffin over the state's Act 689, which bans minors from using social media platform without proof of parent consent. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Like the ESRB gaming one that they wanted to do, that you had to give permission. If I bought my kid the video game, that's permission enough. Let's continue on. With a number of confusing exemptions, reasons, website Elizabeth Nolan Brown reported. The decision by Judge Timothy L. Brooks coincided with a similar injunction against the Texas anti-porn verification and mandate, labeling the law also scheduling to be enacted in that week. As XBiz reported, a Texas court granted on Thursday a preliminary injunction to the Free Speech Coalition and its co-plaintiffs, blocking the Texas Attorney General from enforcing HB 1181 while the case is litigated. Chris Marchese, director of the NetChoice Litigation Center, commented, "We are pleased to the court sided with the First Amendment and stopped Arkansas's unconstitutional law from censoring free speech online and undermining the privacy of Arkansas, their families, and their businesses as our case proceeds. We look forward to seeing the law struck down permanently." Now, for those of you who don't know who NetChoice is an organization that's they're making sure that keep the internet safe for free enterprise and free expression. Their core mission is consumers know the products and services they need. Limited government. The internet thrived under light touch regulation and competition. The internet provides consumers with an abundance of services like it's never before. Understand is that this organization pushes, for competition to protect it. I mean, their associate members are like Airbnb. Google is part of this organization. Amazon.com, Orbitz, PayPal. I mean, even TikTok is on this. Lyft, StubHub, Yahoo. These are associate members on there. And these are the people that are telling you that this is wrong. Let's continue reading here. Nolan Brown explained that as with such age verification laws, the Arkansas measure would invade the privacy of all social media users, including adults who would be forced to turn over official IDs in order to speak or access information online. It also infringe on the rights of minors to share and access constitutionally protected speech. Judge Brooks wrote in his decision that Act 689 was unconstitutionally vague because it falls to the adequate define which entitles the subject to its requirements. Now, understand how this came to be. This was intervention from the Brits, from the UK. There were people from the United Kingdom that testified on this. Okay, this is people coming from another country that they're creating the most intrusive internet that they can. In other words, they're going to be blocking everything. You know, that's the one thing about the United Kingdom, is that the United Kingdom is on its way to something similar out of V for Vendetta. You know, they're headed in that direction. In yet another instance of U.S. anti-porn politicians importing British subjects to share their opinion on American free speech issues, the Arkansas government called UK age verification proponent Tony Allen to testify in support of Act 689. Though termed a constitutional monarchy, the UK has no written constitution and no equivalence to the U.S. Bill of Rights, First Amendment, or codified Section 230 protections. Another sweeping child protection internet legislation, California controversial AB 2273, the so-called Age Appropriation Design Code Act, was drafted and lobbied for by a British noblewoman and filmmaker Baroness Bevan Kidron. Remember that. This is someone from another country that came in to help write legislation to American law. If that's not interference from another country, I don't know what else you can call it. Because you're weighing in on situations from another country that has nothing to do with our own Constitution. Weighing in on the Arkansas Act, Allen attempted to convince the judge of the merits of the UK controversial and long-stalled online safety bill, which the court was told is expected to pass the House of Parliament sometime next month, keeps being pushed back. Allen explained that the UK bill, unlike the Arkansas Act, mandates that age verification requirements will be triggered by a particular content called primary priority content, which the UK has determined is damaging or harmful to minors. Now, understand this. They're not saying porn. They're not saying adult content. They're not saying news, sport, anything like that. They're calling it primarily priority content. What does that mean? That's very vague. And they're going to tell you, well, it's stuff that kids shouldn't be watching. Okay, it fully explains it. No, it's things that kids shouldn't be. It shouldn't be like porn. They're going to keep pushing. It's going to be like porn. But they're going to mean anime, they're going to mean manga, they're going to mean R-rated movies, they're going to mean information that sort of changes the parameters of what the government has said and proves them wrong. See, that's the situation on that. They're taking away the education from children, and this is what's happening in the U.S. right now. Our own children are not getting a proper education. And it's not because of the media itself, what they're watching on TV or the video games or anything like that. It is what they're being taught in school or what they're not being taught. There's an article out that says college professors are struggling with their students because they cannot do basic math. Think about that for a minute. These are people, young people who have graduated high school that can't do basic math, and they're in college. That means they didn't get their proper education. And we've seen this places like Baltimore, Chicago, New York, that we've had these issues with for quite some time now. Examples of the UK primary priority content, he concluded, included adult pornography and information about suicide, self-harm, and dieting. See where they get it? They're talking about dieting right there. Okay, you can't look up, if kids can't look up information about dieting. Okay? After confusing comparing the internet on platforms to a mall, Allen testified that in the UK, online parental consent will be only required when a minor seeks to perform some action online that forbids, such as to enter into a contract for the sale or purchase of goods. By contrast, Act 689 will require social media companies to obtain express consent of a parent or legal guardian much more frequently whenever an Arkansas minor seeks to open up a social media account and to use procedures reliable enough to ensure that these companies avoid incurring civil and criminal penalties. Implementing these procedures, Allen warned, will not be easy. I think the biggest challenge you have with parental consent is actually establishing the relationship, the parental relationship it's easy to say that this person who's giving consent is, let's say, in their 40s versus a person that's asking for their consent being under 18. But actually establishing that the parent or legal guardian, that's the challenge, those processes. And this is what I keep saying. They want to say that, we need the parent. But who's on the other side of that terminal? And they just proved it. Alan just proved it right there. We don't know if they're an 18-year-old. We don't know if they're a 40-year-old. Just because we type in the name in there, the ID number and all that, who to say it's not fake? Who to say it's not stolen? Understand this. These are the things that, that happens. If someone can steal a credit card and go in and shop on it on there and get away with some of it, and if they don't get clipped online, or what they call it, doesn't flag on the register, they'll get away with some of this stuff. I worked in retail. I've seen some of the elements that this does happen, and sometimes you do catch these situations. We used to ask for ID for certain purchases. If the guy's going to spend $1,000 with us, hey, listen, I want to make sure that I'm selling it to Mr. Johnson. Now, I want to take a little bit from the Reasons article, which was written by Elizabeth Nolan Brown. If you want to look it up and read the whole thing, in a scathing ruling, federal courts blocks Arkansas and Texas age verification laws. There's a segment below, which is the exchange the court had with Mr. Allen. It's kind of, I'll read into this. In an amusing, infuriating exchange with the court that was cited in the Brooks ruling, the state suggested that all social media should be treated like a bar for the purposes of excluding minors. Now, here's it is from the court. Well, to pick on Mr. Allen's analogy of the mall, I haven't been to the Northwest Arkansas Mall in a while, but it used to be that there was a restaurant inside the mall that had a bar. And so certainly minors could not go sit at the bar and order a drink, but they go to the Barnes & Noble bookstore or the clothing store or the athletic store. Again, barring Mr. Allen's analogy, the gatekeeping that Act 689 imposes is at the front door of the mall, not the bar inside the mall. Yes, the state. The state position is that the whole mall is a bar if you want to continue to use that analogy. The court. The whole mall is a bar. The state. Correct.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Clearly, the state's analogy is not persuasive. And that is correct. You're saying that you cannot enter the mall unless you're an adult. Now, I know that you may say to yourself, well, there's times what the mall says kids cannot go into the mall without an adult. And most of the time, these laws are certain time frames, like lunch hour. Like when I used to work at the 163rd Mall in North Miami Beach, because of some of the fights and issues, the mall had put a lunch halt on like between 12 and 2 for minors not accessing the mall. But that's just to protect the people in there. After 2 p.m., they couldn't hold them back. But that rule eventually, after about 6 months, got pulled away because, the mall realized that could be a constitutional issue. You can't stop kids from coming into the mall, because they're customers too. They have money in their pockets. They come in to purchase. They might come get something to eat. They might come in T-shirts, or they might need something for school. You can't stop them from doing that. So the analogy of saying that the whole mall is a bar is completely stupid. This is the thoughts. This is the thought patterns that these guys have when it comes to these age verification laws. They're going to violate your rights so they can protect other people, or to protect themselves. And like I said before, there's free software out there There's some software you can pay for that will protect your child from the internet, from going to certain sites. And it can be put on a phone, but you got to remember, to fully protect them, you got to block Facebook, you got to block X, Instagram, TikTok, all these sites on there, because they're able to, and this is what a lot of these people don't talk about, is basically these sites are the ones where they're getting their porn. But who am I to say this but a man with the show?
Thanks for watching. Before you go, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and share this video. Also, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, as it helps us increase the reach of our channel. Finally, as a content viewer, you have the ability to help fund this and many other channels. If you wish to help grow this channel by financial support, you have two ways. There are two links below. One link will send you to a direct pay site where you can make a donation. The second link will send you to our gear store where you can purchase t-shirts, mugs, and other specialty items. Any additional discounts will be listed on the main page. Once again, thank you for watching and your support.